Hey, what's good, everybody? See the title. Now, normally, I ain't gonna say normally, but for a while, I haven't necessarily done these type of reactions. But it's just I gotta address it while I'm trying to show good things. If y'all seen my community post, if not, make sure you go over there to the community post. I posted a couple young brothers doing their thing, young black teenage brothers doing their thing. So it's just you kind of get tired of seeing the same narrative by certain black women who are upset by the choices they made. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta do a reaction to this every once in a while. I'm gonna keep bringing good stuff, highlighting good young black men and young black women as well, because we can't just let it make it seem like it's all the same thing. It's just all black men and women are bad. But for black women like this, gotta start calling them out. Call out the good ones, call out the bad men, call out the good black men. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and get into it. No accountability.
Well, here's the thing, because we have the women need to choose better narrative, like, and some dude just put in the chat box, stop choosing black men who are bums. And so when it comes to this discussion about
All right. So on that, whoever said that got a point. You have to be careful about the type of person you choose. And you know what I'm saying? Like, what we got to start doing is, if you see red flags in a man or a woman, pay attention to those red flags. Like, for real. And I'm not saying you diss somebody, but if you see certain red flags that you so-called hear all the time, or you've seen before within people around you, you know what I'm saying, you're the same gender as a black man or black woman, pay attention to that. Don't try to overlook it and still ride with them. If a woman see a man got a criminal record and it's recent, I'm talking about like within a 1 year plus, up to probably say 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to that. Is this man trying to do better? Do you see him actually doing better? Like, do you see him moving in that fashion? Also, what does he talk about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is that really his mind frame? Like, these are the type of things that you have to pay attention to. So I'm just saying that for on the women's side, because they talking about black men. So if you see that, try your best to pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? Certain things like that, how they move, you know what I'm saying, how they dress, how they talk, hairstyles, different types of things. Try to be careful about that. Is this person keeping themselves up? Are they not? Are they, you know what I'm saying, when you having a conversation, if you're that type of woman and you like to have intellectual conversations, if all they do is cussing, 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 and nothing really intellectual coming out of their mind, you know what I'm saying? After getting talking and you see these red flags, I ain't saying just let weeks and months till years go past to decide to move on. But I think you're a cool person, but I think I'm gonna just fall back, you know what I'm saying, and chill. I ain't really looking for no relationship. Just, getting to know people. If you're like, well, keep, maybe you might have to tell them the truth. I don't know.
Choosing better, that's even illogical, because you can't have something this an affliction on your culture that is literally endemic of the culture. Like, this is an epidemic at this point. So when you have a circumstance that's a detrimental epidemic, it's not about choosing better. This is about numbers. This is about the law of probability, meaning whatever's around you is what you're going to most likely attract and get. Add to what Onyx said about the fact that men will switch up. A man is going to be a different person if he's in a relationship that doesn't involve a child versus the real responsibility of having a child. And it seems like when a woman has a child with a black man, it's during that initial knowledge of the pregnancy, literally her letting him know that she's pregnant, that's when she sees the real him. So I don't think there's any way for you to really be able to predict whether a man is going to provide for his children, except for if he already has children that he's not providing for.
All right, so let me address that. She's saying that black men, generally speaking, this is where it's at, will go ahead, have child with a woman in the honeymoon phase, if you will, the beginning of the happiness of the relationship, and just walk out on his children. But this is the debate. She said, how can you really know? Check this out. That's why you do what? Protect yourself. Why would you? This is what she's not addressing. This is where it's a problem with accountability with women like her, because the claim is she want to have, a child by the other content creator, Rob Peterson. He doesn't believe in marriage. He has multiple kids. Now, check this out. You might have been digging him, liking him, we're not going out on dates. Then y'all got intimate and no protection being used. You see he got multiple kids with multiple women. Why would you start doing the same things that they did? Why would you let him lead you into that instead of, hey, okay, you don't like marriage, I can respect that, but I want to be married. Once you let that know, that's like repellent for idiots who trying to get you to keep going forward to do what they want you to do. That's where accountability comes in at. If you know you want to be married, why would you have a child before that? And I hear a lot of women being afraid to want to have get married because they worry it's going to end in divorce and all that. But guess what? When you have a child with somebody, you are still technically married for life. So which one is worse? Get married to somebody, y'all don't have kids, and end up getting a divorce. Y'all don't have to deal with each other no more. After everything's taken care of, y'all done. You have a child with somebody, y'all not done. They can come back in and out the child's life if they want to, as long as the child is accepting them, and you gonna have to see it still. And say if they can't get in contact with the child and they trying to get in contact with you, you can try to block them all you want, but they still got a right, or they can take you to court still. So you still have to deal with that man. So the way you can make sure that's not happening is put things in your mindset that you want, so that you can make sure you're protecting yourself from some Pookie and Ray Ray. But allegedly, Cynthia G didn't do that. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to accountability. It is how you choose. How you choose to move and who you choose to deal with, because they can't come in your life and make you deal with them. Like, come on, man. It's simple math.
We know that that's not the case, because we know that a lot of these trash bags are first-time parents, and they're literally walking out on one kid, let alone multiple ones. So really, when it comes to this discussion about, okay, you're choosing the wrong person, at this point, because it is such an epidemic in the community, you would have to choose a non-Black man. You would have to. But if it's not them saying...
Now let's talk about that. You have to choose a non-Black man to get protected. She didn't bring up marriage one time. Hey, if the guy ain't talking about marriage, what's the point of building a relationship with him? What's the point of allowing yourself to get to this point where you will even have a child with this man and y'all ain't even married yet? That's what we need to start back talking about. Don't nobody want to get married no more, but everybody around here still having babies out of wedlock, and then thinking that the guy is just gonna automatically change and become a better man or stay the man that he tricked you into believing he was, quote unquote. No, that's your fault. And a lot of women don't want to hear that, but it's like, what else? Come on, man. Us as men, we ain't got no choice to hear that. It's logical. Whether we like it or not, the men around us gonna always tell us, hey, you made that bed, now you gotta sleep in it. Oh, she put you on child support. You see she got other kids from other baby daddies and she did the same thing to them. Why would you go have a baby with her? It's the same thing. If you don't want to marry her, then what's the point? If you don't want to marry him, then what's the point? That's where accountability comes in. She didn't say nothing about marriage. She didn't say nothing about putting these standards up and making a man have to, come to that standards. Or, if he's really feeling you, that's what he gonna want to do regardless.
Oh, well, just vet the man. Then it's okay, well, the women need to raise their children better. Because this is what some people are saying, that the problem isn't going to be solved by not giving birth to the males. The real problem is that the women can't raise it. You're not raising the males right. And so that's kind of what I want to unpack for a second. I want to unpack this notion of Black women not raising males right, because I would agree.
Now, this I definitely want to comment on.
That we're not able to raise them right, obviously. We have a trash bag culture that they're being sucked into, like a vacuum that's going around sucking up your kids into this culture that Black men created. We know that they created, because we know that they're currently creating the situation. But the thing is, Black women have...
Yeah, that a lot of Black women partake in too, by choice, but go ahead.
stepped off the plantation. You have not been able to do that. So at what point does the community come together and say, well, this is not working?
Since we stepped off the plantation, actually we was doing good until we decided to go back to the plantation, metaphorically speaking, meaning, when the MLK came, and we had all these house Negroes that want to go back to the plantation instead of us staying separate, because we was doing better when it was separation was going on. We was doing better because we had to rely on each other. But then we found love, self-love, and pride within ourselves for having to be with each other. But when the MLKs came, people like him, we went back to the plantation, actually.
The males are not stepping up to take care of their children. They're even encouraging other males to not be stepfathers, so they don't want any male influence. The women, if we look at the product of it, the women are overworked, they're overburdened, they're stressed out, because a lot of abuse in homes come from the level of stress.
Now let me address that real quick before I let what she's saying continue. When she said men are encouraging other men to not be stepfathers, we know why that is. I've been through it personally. The reason being, and I definitely want to go on this, one of the biggest reasons is because those are not your children. You can't just rear the children any way you want because those are her children. And the person that she had the kids from, or the men that she had kids from, those are their children. Those are not your children. So if you come in the house, you're supposed to be raising the child like your own, or the children, and then something go wrong with them, and you can't chastise them, you can't reprimand them, you can't really hardly say nothing or do nothing, but you spending your money on them, you spending your time and effort on them. And what if you got a child or kid somewhere else, but you giving more attention to their kids, and then y'all break up, and them kids ain't worried about you no more because mama didn't moved on. Mama got to have a life too, right? She didn't moved on. So my thing is, and I've said this on other videos before, I have a child. So I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want a woman who has a child because I have a child. And I don't think that's fair. Logically being fair and thinking about it, if a woman doesn't have kids and she wants to get with a man that don't have kids, I'm fine with that. If both of these people don't have kids, let them get together and build their own empire, their own dynasty, their own lineage. Let them get together and do that. You know what I'm saying? So what does it matter? But for us that do have kids, I will say this. If you have a child or children and you get with somebody who has a child or children, hey, maybe y'all can build together. You got your child to worry about. They got their child to worry about. Y'all can, relate on these certain things and within respect to the other parents. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to tell somebody who doesn't have kids that they should get with somebody and play stepdaddy. That does not mean that that's going to help. And then another thing I want to say on this. You got women, because I dealt in youth programs. I worked in youth programs. Check this out. You know how many mothers was a headache for us at these organizations I worked at? I understand you can have stress, got to work, blase squads. I understand that. But then when you do have positive role model black men trying to help the children and the mother is not working with you, 9 times out of 10, it was the mother that was the issue. For the fathers that came around, we ain't had no issues with them. We related to them easy. But 9 times out of 10, the parent problems we had with parents, it was the mothers. Now, if somebody want to say, oh, well, that's because a lot of black men, they just leaving their kids. Anyway, let me tell you something. I ain't trying to dig on nobody, but the way a lot of these mothers was moving, come on now. The attitudes we had to deal with, and we're trying to do something positive, especially if a lot of the services was free. You can kind of see why some of these brothers didn't want to deal with these women. The bad attitude. And if the attitude came from the fathers or whoever, that's on you now. You holding that energy and giving it to people who ain't doing nothing wrong to you, but trying to help you. That's another thing we don't talk about. You got black men that's trying to do positive things in the community and then get met with resistance. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, black men ain't doing this, black men ain't doing that. And then you see brothers doing that. The problem is we want to keep talking about relationships. Come on, man. How a stepdaddy going to help you? You don't need a stepdaddy. You need to find brothers that's doing positive things in the community so your sons can be around them. Or if you would have got married, maybe that would have helped you a little bit better. You can't just put it on that. Stepdad is a relationship. More penis is not finna help you raise your children better.
So they're extremely burdened. The product is not beneficial anymore. It's not. So I think it's safe to conclude that Black women are not able to effectively raise male children. So why are you giving birth to them?
Exactly. And like, I'm just sick of this even thing.
And I'm about to end this on here. You get a headache listening to bullshit like this. Why birth them? Go to another race? You know what I mean? Check this out. And y'all can just look this video. I'm not going to even suggest nothing. Whoever listening to this, just go look it up on YouTube. Go look up a lot of Black women who swirling, thinking that when they go get with a different race, a white race or whatever, the white male, end up in the same boat. You know why? Because a lot of them are still becoming single mothers. A lot of these Black women that keep saying that are becoming single mothers in different culture and races. You saying that white men don't do that, and then you go over there and you still become a baby mama and you don't even get married. You go to an Asian guy and still do the same thing. Go to an Italian guy, still do the same thing. Go to a Hispanic guy, still do the same thing. So is it really just the Black man, or is it the choices that you're making? It's the choices that you're making. You can't just put it all on Black men. And this is another thing. If you mean to tell me about 50 or a little over 50% of Black men don't even have kids, y'all can go look those stats up. How are you going to sit there and tell me there's no pool of Black men to choose from? And if you mean to tell me a guy that you meet has multiple kids, why would you even, and let's say you don't have no kids, why would you go have kids with him? Why would you not go get married? And this is another thing, because they say the problem is Black men are king of 50-50. All right, let me tell you this. You know how that's really some BS? If a lot of Black women have kids, brother's going to play stepdaddy, and you talking about 50-50, explain to me how he's not providing. Because check this out. 9 times out of 10, when a Black man get with a Black woman, he got kids, she got kids, guess what's not going to happen? She's not going to be shelling out money for his kids 9 times out of 10. It's going to be the other way around. I done been through that too. So you dealing with a woman, she ain't giving you no money for your kids, but you giving money to her kids. So is it 50-50 still, or is it 75-25? That's another thing we got to talk about. It might actually be 75-25, especially if you deal with a woman who got kids. You ain't helping me with my children. You ain't helping me with my child. You ain't got to give me nothing on mine, but I'm helping you with yours. So who really playing, you know what I'm saying? Who really doing 50-50? It's 75-25, really, when you think about it. You, like, it's a problem for you to want the woman to give to you and submit and all of that. But we still supposed to stay traditional, but Black women don't want to be traditional no more. Like, that's what a lot of sisters got to be careful about. You can't expect them Black men to give you everything, but you don't want to be traditional no more. And another thing that a lot of sisters got to realize, you getting game from decent brothers who are telling you, be careful about the kind of guy you choose. Watch out for the red flags. Watch out for the Pookie and Ray Rays. Not all Black men are Pookie and Ray Rays. Because if we say that, then we can say all Black women are Keishas and Kims. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It would only be fair. So that's why you do see a lot of Black men saying the stuff that they're saying. Because it's like, okay, so y'all gonna diss us? A lot of us don't got kids. A lot of us take care of our responsibilities. Do the best that we can. Whatever you want to scratch about, fine. You don't want the average Black man who made $42,000. You go to the average white guy that made $52,000, but you still become a single mother. Come on. These are the things that we really have to think about. So if y'all want to do that, fine. I don't care if you want to divest, whatever they call that bullshit. You want to get your swirl on. I really don't give a damn. The problem is we keep talking about relationships. That's the problem. My thing is destroy and rebuild. Forget about the old structure and try to build on what we need to. Or get back to the good things of the old structure before the 60s ended, and actually go back to where we was for togetherness. But it has to work both ways. But I think the biggest thing we have to stop worrying about is the mindset of getting in a relationship and thinking that having the adultery mindset is actually going to help you build the community back up just to make you happy. No, it's not going to happen that way. Got to get back to be in a community first and raising our kids to be what's on right. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, stepdaddies is not going to help sister's situation get better who have kids and don't get along with the baby daddy. I ain't going to always, I'm sorry, I had to grow up and learn that myself. It's not always mama got kicked to the curb by daddy. You got some mamas kicking daddy to the curb who tried their best. That's just reality. We need to get back to building our communities. Sisters got to stop worrying about penis. Brothers got to stop worrying about coochie. Get back to building our communities up. That's what we need to do. This your boy JTL. This has been my reaction. Had to do it. Gonna do some more, but like I said, I'm gonna try my best to focus more on highlighting good sisters, man. Forget all this bullshit and these other black females who ain't being black women. And we ain't got too much time for that. We gotta make a change. You feel me? All right, I'm gonna be back. Chill.